History makers. History makers.
How you going? Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Paul Coleman.
That was quite a cheer you got, Pete.
I feel the love here. Yeah, it feels good.
When was the last time you were at Easterfest?
2008, 3 years ago.
Who was here?
Great. Well, it's good to be back. It's great to see some friendly Aussies, and appreciate you all coming out. Looking forward to tonight. It's my first solo concert ever.
Whoa. Hold. You're saying tonight is your very first ever solo performance?
Yeah. And it's actually my first time I've been on stage at a concert for, like, to do a full concert in 2 years. So...
You must have a lot of, like... Sorry, I didn't want to get in the way of that. You were saying something to Peter? I love him too. I know how you feel. I love him too. See that guy down there? He loves you.
Love you too, mate.
All right.
In a manly kind of way.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, we'll just keep it at that, yeah.
So, 2 years. So
Yeah.
what do you... All right, well, let's go back. Let's get a bit of backstory here. So, 2008, in the back of a tour bus heading towards Nashville, I said to you, mate, I think I need to move on from being in the Newsboys. And you said...
If you do, I'll kill you.
I wasn't going to mention that.
That's not what I said, no, that's right.
I wasn't going to mention that. But then not long after that, Newsboys were doing a tour, and I got a text message from Kevin Max
Right.
from DC Talk.
Yep.
Bono told me never to name drop, so I wouldn't, you know. Yeah, but anyway. Not funny. And he said Michael Tate is going to be the new lead singer of the Newsboys. And I remember calling you and going, mate, you won't believe the rumour that I just heard. Do you remember that?
No,
Oh, come on.
not at all. You just totally made that up.
So anyway, so tell us about that period. How did that all go down? What happened?
Well, we had a big fight. Big band fight, yeah.
No, that's not right.
Totally true, yeah. Me and that, what's that drummer's name, Duncan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Boy, he's hurting today, I'll tell you right now. No, it's always a tough decision to make big decisions, isn't it? You know, in life, when we all face them at certain points in our life. And for me, I never thought it would come to the day of, you know, Newsboys was something, obviously, as you know, was a tree that I planted as a kid, you know, in my teenage years. We would, you know, any folks from Toowoomba here? Yeah, my wife and I, we were just walking the streets of Toowoomba, and it flashes back of selling lamingtons and macadamia nuts, you know. So if you're here in Toowoomba and you, in the late 80s, you worked in the main street of Toowoomba, you would have met us at some point, because we would have tried to sell you macadamia nuts or lamingtons. And so it goes that far back, and, you know, for me, it was a time of, after about 22 years, it wasn't a time of being tired of doing it or feeling worn out. It was just something spiritual that I felt in my life. It was time to let the ground rest, and I really felt God told me that, which is a strange phrase, isn't it? Let the ground rest, especially when you're not tired and you feel great. And the band was at the top of the game. And for me, in them couple of years before I finished up with the boys, my wife and I, Paul knows this, we bought like a bus, like an RV, and I drove it around America and Canada and Mexico, and did you know, so I was kind of my own bus driver, where the lads were in their own bus with a driver, and so I got to see and to kind of really just enjoy being on the road. But what it really taught us was really about simplifying in your life. You know, and that's another thing that we all kind of face at certain. We see it with the economic times going on, and you see it in a city like Toowoomba where we see the floods. Things like that begin to make you think different about what you're doing with your life and the things that we have, and not just acquiring them but also maintaining them. You know, and so my wife and I, here we are. We were living in an RV, driving that around. On tour, and living in this kind of caravan, and having to conserve water, and it really taught us just to really simplify our lives. And so that was also part of the process that got into my thought life with the band. And I really, the other thing that really came to my head at the time too was I know this has been sort of said in a few quotes, but it was really something that God really explained to me in a way that he didn't make the horse to win at the races. You know what I mean? He made it for his pleasure, to watch it run. And so for me, the creative process had become more about maintenance, if you know what I'm saying. It became more about keeping something huge going all the time, and that's really where it affected my spirit more than anything else. And so I went and saw the lads, and the lads were great about it. You know, I love them guys, and they wanted to keep going, and I totally agreed. And so I spent the next year or so helping them in that process. You know, I went out on the road, and Michael Tate came out and did about 30 or 40 shows just watching, just kind of watching the show and back at the sound console, and he'd come up and sing a couple songs and kind of catching the vision of what it was about, you know what I mean? And then we made the switch, which is hard. It's always hard. They're hard things to do, and hard for everybody, hard for the boys. We made that switch, and then I was back behind the curtain for a while, just helping and watching that. And then it became more evident that it was time to let it go, and that was the process of the last couple of years. And then after that, I didn't know what I was going to do with my life, not knowing. I wasn't worried about it, it wasn't like I was, my life, as you know, Paul, your life gets so planned out all the time. Your life's planned out, especially when you're in a big organisation, so I love the fact, it was a thrill that I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I didn't know what I was meant to do. I didn't know if I was meant to open a taco stand or I was meant to continue making music. I just didn't know. It didn't worry me. I felt a peace of God, I like tacos, and
that was a pretty random idea, from Lamingtons to tacos, Peter.
Well, it's a food business,
But one thing I got an email from somebody just after that who said, you got to see all these things Furler's painting. Yeah. And he sent me this picture of a drum skin or something.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, that was the thing too of just, we've all got a creative, if it's true, which I believe it's true, that we're made in the image of God, and God is someone that, you hear all this quantum physics, we're kind of made up of all these atoms. Well, the Bible talks about that. It says that we're made of, God took the dust and he breathed life into it. And so he created something out of nothing, practically. And so we've all got that, whether you're a housewife and you're just preparing a meal or decorating the house, or to an artist painting a picture, or a photographer, or a preacher preaching a sermon, or whatever it is, or creating a business. You've got that thing in you. And so for me, that was still in me. And so I just, I come from a family of painters. And so for me, it was just really I just decided to paint. It's crazy, right? But I had the time, and I just, I was driving my wife nuts because I'm just sort of sitting around the house. And so I began to just go and start painting, and really had a thrill. Not for anything except just for the joy of creating something out of nothing.
Yeah, so I went to your website.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, well. And like this, it's I don't know, has anyone been to Pete's website, seen these paintings? Freaky good. Yeah, so you can actually purchase these drum skins. I want to look good in my studio, Pete, just saying. Just saying.
What?
Yeah. Well, so the first time that I came to Toowoomba with the Newsboys, I think was 06. And everyone else before, from when we arrived to when we played, everyone else went to Brisbane, but you went up to the Sunshine Coast, and I said, can I tag along? Because I wanted to meet your family. I wanted some context. So we stayed with Peter's parents, and Pete grew up as a lifesaver. And so he took us down to the beach. What's the beach?
We're just down at the beach at Kiwana Waters. Yeah.
What's that near Mooloolaba?
Near Mooloolaba.
Okay, so
Yeah.
he takes us down to the beach, and I've never sort of surfed, but I did a bit of body surfing, which is pretty good for a Victorian. I mean, it's pretty cold down there.
Yeah.
So what? Can I tell the story?
I love this story.
Okay. So Pete says, I want to take you body surfing where I grew up. I want to show you a bit of my history. I'm like, great. So we get there, we catch a few waves, some of them pretty rough. And then Pete's like, let's get some lunch. All right. So he said, let's have a competition. Let's catch a wave. We've got to agree on it. We've got to agree on the wave. And then we'll catch it in. The person that wins doesn't have to buy lunch. Something like that. So we get the wave. This one, no, I let it go. This one, no. Eventually, this beautiful big wave comes in. This one, he goes, yeah. I go, you sure? He goes, yeah. So I get on it. It tosses me. I had sand coming out of everywhere. I mean, it was awful. Mouthful of sand, seaweed. I'm blown around. And then I'm trying to hang on to the wave, and I look up and think, well, I wonder if I beat him. He's not there. He's out there. And he catches this beautiful wave, and I go, what happened? He goes, oh, mate, I wasn't going to catch that. It was a dumper.
It's a lovely moment.
Yeah, it was. Okay, so the paintings. I know you're not up here to advertise your stuff, but literally people can look at them and buy them off your website.
Most of my friends have been buying them off me. Yeah.
But they're really good. They're really
Thanks,
good.
mate. I appreciate it.